Obtuvo sus títulos en matemáticas y física en Hungría y luego realizó estudios de posgrado en matemáticas aplicadas en la Universidad de Cincinnati. Mientras enseñaba matemáticas en Cincinnati, se apasionó por investigar cuestiones relacionadas con la enseñanza y el aprendizaje de las matemáticas. En particular, el uso de la tecnología en la educación matemática de pregrado. Posteriormente, el profesor Lavicz trabajó en varios proyectos de investigación que examinaban la enseñanza de la tecnología y las matemáticas en una variedad de entornos de aula en las universidades de Michigan y Cambridge. También ha realizado importantes contribuciones al desarrollo de la comunidad GeoGebra y ha participado en el desarrollo de proyectos de investigación sobre GeoGebra y tecnologías relacionadas en todo el mundo. Actualmente es profesor de métodos de investigación en educación STEAM en la Escuela de Educación de Linz, Universidad Johannes Kepler, Austria. Dirige numerosos proyectos de investigación en todo el mundo relacionados con la integración de la tecnología en las escuelas, coordina proyectos de investigación, enseña métodos de investigación educativa en todo el mundo y supervisa el programa de doctorado en educación STEAM en la Universidad Johannes Kepler. Bueno, sin más preámbulos, adelante, doctor Lavicz, usted tiene 40 minutos para realizar su exposición y luego de ello 15 minutos para resolver preguntas o dudas que tengan nuestros participantes, ¿no? Nuestros televidentes o las personas que están escuchando. Puede empezar, doctor.
Okay. So thank you very much for the invitation, and it's very good to be here. And thank you, Daisy, for this invitation. So we met last year in Buenos Aires, and then I'm following the work what you are doing there, and it's very interesting. And in this talk, I will just give a summary of our work here in Linz on STEAM education, and I have lots of things to say. And what I would like to do is just maybe inspire you, and then also spark some possibility to collaborate and then do some research together. And I'm sure you have lots of interesting studies and work then that we can share, and hopefully it will be a long time collaboration. And also we are organizing lots of things in Latin America, which would be very good to collaborate and then work on. So I will give you an overview of where I am working and then what we are doing. And then also I just give you some interesting projects overviews on what we are doing in Linz. So I'm currently working in the Linz School of Education in Austria. And this Linz School of Education is just a quite new place where we are developing a doctoral school and then also research for STEAM education. So we have more than 40 PhD students, and then we have lots of visitors from all over the world, and organizing lots of events which is related to STEAM education. And this program is for researchers, but also for teachers who want to work on STEAM education. And also we have lots of possibilities to work with many other colleagues here in Linz and in other places too. So we have computer science education, and then we are also working with GeoGebra, which is located near our work. So I think many of you know GeoGebra, and it was started with Professor Markus Hohenwater, and I was assisting him to develop the community of GeoGebra. And now GeoGebra is becoming a huge software for not only mathematics, but for STEAM education as well. And it has a large number of users. So there are more than 100 million users all around the world. And also it's used from essentially kindergarten to university and in many different subjects beyond mathematics. But what is very important for GeoGebra is that there is a huge community who is developing the resources. So there are more than 2 million resources available. And you can use all of these resources in different languages. So I encourage you to use these resources and then also share your resources. And then also there are lots of groups who are developing these resources. I just shared one on our Facebook page, which is a new organized resources for school teachers. So maybe you can check out this. I will send the links to you later, which you can monitor that one, what is happening in GeoGebra and related to research. And then also GeoGebra has a large community. So there are more than 200 GeoGebra institutes in many countries, and essentially Latin America is one of the most active continents using GeoGebra. And what I will talk today is mostly our research on innovation within STEAM education, and then I will talk about the technological development in STEAM education, pedagogy, and then also assessment. But what is our vision in our research center to look at creativities and innovation, and how we can bring this kind of creativities back to the school. So we observe that many times when we are teaching mathematics and other subjects, creativity is being lost. But creativity or different kind of creativities are very important for the future of humanity and then the future of schools. So we try to look at that how this kind of creativity can be integrated into the teaching and learning processes. So in that case, what we try to do is that move to this kind of transdisciplinary education. So we have different subjects, mathematics, physics, biology, history, and so on. But these are most of the time are not connected in the school. But at the same time, there are lots of connections we can discover, and that creativity can be drawn from this kind of connections. So what we try to do is connecting different disciplines, but also different environments and the characteristics of the learning environments can be used for education, which could be done in different ways. So in our group, what we try to do is that doing research on different technologies, and then also develop pedagogies, policies, and then also the environments where this kind of uses of technology can be done. So we try to enhance these kind of innovations. And then we are very fortunate that we are working together with the GeoGebra group. So what we try to do is try to develop resources for teachers and for students to fit all of the different technological requirements. So we started GeoGebra on desktops, but now most of the use of GeoGebra is on tablets and on mobile phones. But we need to develop different kind of resources for this kind of environment. So we are doing research at how to design these environments, and then also the resources for these environments. And we also try to promote online collaboration, because collaboration is a very important skill in the classroom. But also we need to look at that how it is done online. So there is a tool called GeoGebra Classroom, when the teachers can assign problems and then monitor students' work, and then discover that if there is any development among the students, and then share of them in these kind of resources, and then also students can work together in this environment. So maybe you can check some of the developments on the GeoGebra classroom to create this virtual classroom to work together. And then also what we try to do is that trying to find good resources, because now there are so many resources available, but finding the right resources for the right teachers and for the right students is quite difficult. So we try to look at that, what constitutes as a high quality resource, and then how we can integrate it into classrooms. But also we are moving not only on the technology on the phones, but we are moving to augmented reality, and then we can use this kind of augmented reality environments to monitor activities, and then we can use this augmented reality. Hopefully the video will start to model our environments. So in that case, students can use their mobile phones to walk around in the environment and then model any kind of structures, which include lots of mathematical and physical aspects. And then using the augmented reality would give students lots of possibilities for modeling. And then we can use this kind of environment in our classrooms and then work together with the students. So there are hundreds or thousands of this kind of augmented reality resources which you can use. And also we can have different mathematical objects which you can place in the classroom and in real environment, and then you will be able to monitor or follow this kind of and explore the mathematical content. So then there is a possibility to use it, and essentially most of the students have mobile phones which can run AR environments, and then you can experiment not only on the screen, but in the classroom as well. So we started to use this kind of 3D modeling, and then essentially we are doing lots of this 3D modeling in Latin America. So we are starting to use 3D printers, which is becoming very affordable. So 3D printers used to be very expensive. Of course, it's still like 150 or 200 euros or dollars, but it's becoming more and more accessible. And then we will be able to develop resources with these 3D printing activities to create different games and different mathematical modeling for the classroom. And then we will be able to use it for teaching. And then, for example, for mathematical arts, we are working with lots of artists to connect mathematics and arts through 3D printing, for example. But I will show you more of these activities. And because of the pandemic, it's becoming very important to have a hybrid teaching and learning environment. So we are running different projects on connecting hybrid learning, so learning in the classroom and then learning at home, and then how we will be able to connect this. And also we are trying to look at how we can supply good materials for teachers and students. So we are running some projects on learning analytics to find the right resources for students and teachers. And then also, if you are familiar with GeoGebra nodes, then that is an environment for collaboration. So in that case, you can have a canvas to share it with the students, and then you can integrate PDF, pictures, GeoGebra files, and then do investigations together with the students. So these are some of the technological innovations which we are working together with GeoGebra and with other technologies. But I would like to give you an overview of different STEAM integration. So, for example, gamification is a very important part of STEAM education, or essentially life. We meet lots of gamification, even if we are shop online or offline. Then there is these badges and leaderboards and so on. So we try to integrate gamification into our work, and essentially it's done most of the gamification work with our colleagues and students in Uruguay. Fabian Vitabar and Cecilia Russo, maybe some of you know them. They are doing really amazing work on gamification. But gamification is not the same as games. We are developing lots of different games for teachers and students. And we started to develop these games in digital and in physical formats. And then we found that students can develop really interesting games. And then also what we try to do is making these kind of connections between the physical and the digital world. So we are developing different kind of game activities to have this kind of new era of manipulatives, where we can use physical and digital resources, of which the students are very experienced to connect the different words, and then try to come up with resources that we can use in the classroom. So in that case, we can have very simple problems. So for example, these spirals can be done very quickly in GeoGebra. But if we use augmented reality or 3D printers, then we will be able to create real life games, and then we can move between the physical and the digital spaces with these environments. And then also we are trying to work with real games, real game companies. So we will be able to integrate them into the classroom. So for example, this is a Logiphases game, when you have to create a continuous surface from a set of prisms. And then this is a very good way to develop creativity and then also connect the different subjects. So this is our team who is developing games. And then, for example, this is the 3D printed version of the Logiphases game. And then we ask students to print and then create new resources with 3D printers, and then also with the Logiphases game. And then the role of the teacher is to create the environment where then the students can learn from these games. Or another example, that we developed a very simple game, which is based on the division of the cube. So we ask students to divide the cube into equal volumes, and there are lots of different solutions, or infinite many solutions, but we can create games, and then we can create learning opportunities through these kind of games, either with the design or the use of these games to work with. For example, this is a game with the Voronoi diagrams, which we can take into 3D 3D directions. So this is also developed by a teacher, and this is a 3D printed cookie cutters. So we can use different kind of geometries to create these cookie cutters, and then give motivations for students to explore mathematics and 3D printing. So in that case, if we can use these cookie cutters to to create geometric objects or objects that the students are familiar with, then we will be able to eat mathematics together and then discuss these activities as well. We also try to teach students with 3D printing, that whole 3D printing is working. So we have a wooden 3D printer to assemble. And then now we are getting some new 3D printers from a company we are working with, and then we will be able to assemble the 3D printers by ourselves, or even print some of the elements of the printers together. And then this is a game which is very interesting, because in that case, students need to use both 3D printed elements of the game and then augmented reality. So you can have a solution only if you use physical and digital resources at the same time, and then it will have a real connection of the physical and the digital world together. So then this is a very interesting game for students to learn, for example, coordinate systems and different shapes. This is a game which we are working in Hungary with an artist, and then essentially in this game is to develop different geometric and combinatorial knowledge. And essentially this game was inspired by several Latin American artists from Argentina, and it could be a very useful resource for schools. So we just published a book about this, and with hundreds of different resources. And this is another game which we are collaborating with a team of Ernő Rubik, who invented the Rubik Cube. So probably you know Mondrian, who was a famous painter. And then in this game is inspired by his paintings. And then we are developing resources for mathematics teaching and puzzles with this kind of Mondrian game. Another important topic which we can use in the classroom is culture. So we will be able to use different kind of technologies, and then also connecting the physical and digital world. So then that's why we started to look at how to connect the physical and the digital world. And then, for example, architecture is one of the elements of our surroundings, which we always meet, and we can use architecture as a teaching tool. So together with my recently graduated student from Egypt, Shireen, we developed a dashboard and then examples of this kind of physical and digital resources to be able to connect the physical and digital world. So students can choose, or teachers can choose, different kind of architectures they want to model. So we can use augmented reality, VR, 3D printing, and scanning, either for the physical and digital world. And then also we can use it in not only classroom, but beyond classroom environments, such as in museums. And students are very proficient of using GeoGebra to do modeling, either with the GeoGebra app or with the augmented reality feature. And then we will be able to integrate these kind of architectural models into the classroom. So similarly, we did a project with our colleagues in Luxembourg. So in that case, we developed resources for students during the pandemic, and then students were able to go around with a tool called MedCity Map, and then they could explore their city. And then also with the augmented reality feature of GeoGebra, they were able to to model some of the architecture and then include some mathematical elements, and then we printed all of these resources for them. My other PhD student, Matthias, I think he's also in the call, is also developing lots of resources with 3D printing, and then he's also leading our 3D printing and STEAM lab, and then we will have lots of interesting ideas and resources. My other student in Korea looked at architecture and astronomy, so he used 3D printing and augmented reality to monitor the different features of architecture. And then also my colleague from Jerusalem, from Israel, looked at different cultural effects of the Jewish culture, and then used technology to monitor this. So we had huge projects with cultural elements of the Israeli culture and GeoGebra. Also, my student is working on cultural elements in the Portuguese-speaking countries, so in Brazil, Portugal, Cape Verde, and Angola, and then how we can use students' surroundings to utilize it for mathematics teaching. So we are looking at the different cultural elements and cultural objects or natural objects to use it for teaching. And we are doing something similar in Indonesia, utilizing the culture, utilizing the local art to spark the motivation of students, and then also develop interesting activities. Same both in the classroom or outside of the classroom with MathCity maps. So we will be able to create mathematical trails in cities with MathCity maps, where the students can walk around in their surroundings and then explore their cities and learn mathematics at the same time. So these are some of the monitoring. We also look at maker culture, that's how we will be able to use different technologies. So for example, this is 3D cutting. My student from Brazil is working on it. And also we try to look at media. So we are using silent videos to create opportunities for students to learn mathematics. So in these silent videos, students or teachers create very short videos, like 30 seconds, and then they becoming YouTubers, and they have to explain to each other what is in the video. And then it was a very successful project with my PhD student from Iceland. Another student of mine is looking at memes, to use mathematical memes for students to explain different activities, and then we can use these memes to teach different phenomenon. And we have the opportunity of many of the cultural elements and also the media elements to be able to monitor and then promote student learning in the classroom. Or my other student is looking at digital comics, and then how we can use these digital comics to introduce topics for students to learn about social scientific issues like global warming or crime or environmental protection. And then in these comics could bring in lots of motivation and interest for students, and then work on these kind of topics as well. Another area which we are quite active is arts in education. So we are looking at mathematics and music. So one of my students is developing a musical tool to explore algebra and geometry. My other student is working on mathematical functions. So probably, maybe you know that GeoGebra also includes sound. So you can project sounds with GeoGebra, or we can teach students to program. So we use a Raspberry Pi, which is a small computer, where the students can generate music through coding. And also, we try to integrate more girls. So, for example, one of my students is looking at digital jewelry or 3D printed jewelry to be able to integrate girls into STEAM. Or we are working with origami, and then also we try to connect the subjects. So, for example, with my colleagues, we did a project on the geodesic dome. So we built this geodesic dome from a tool from Korea, and then when it was done by the students or the teachers, then we can use GeoGebra to deepen our knowledge of the mathematical elements of this study. So we will be able to explore the different patterns. We can explore the triangles, the different shapes that the objects have, and then we will be able to create learning and then monitor these activities as well. So, for example, this geodesic dome become a national project in Finland. So they built the largest ice dome in the country, and then it became a huge project to involve thousands of students to explore in this kind of one shape. And then when they went back to the classroom, they looked at where this geodesic dome also appears. So it appears in architecture. It can be done with origami. So then there is lots of possibility to do this. And then also we can have a mathematical hairdresser where we can have the geodesic dome in hand. So in someone's head. So this is my friends doing mathematical hairdressing, and then you can do it in our annual conference too. I don't know how much time, so not too much time I have. So we are working with laser cutting. We are trying to look at how history and augmented reality and 3D printing can be connected. So mazes are in all cultures. So we are developing mazes for different apps, and then students can walk in their AR spaces with in their mazes, and then afterwards we are printing the results to each other. We are looking at mandalas, which is also part of the culture. Of course, we can use it digital ways, and also different kind of fractal arts or regular arts. We are trying to connect mathematics and dancing. We have now big projects on mathematics and dancing. So then this is my students did a huge exhibition on dancing, and also we are trying to connect dancing with mathematics and physics. So my student from Mexico is looking at physics and dancing, and then we also try to connect technology and dancing too. So then there is a possibility for puppeting, and then also we looked at how we can use robots for making music. So then this is one of the projects. Then the student, or then there is a robot drum band playing. Okay, so maybe some other things that mathematics arts competitions we are developing, or mathematical photography, which is done in Argentina. And I think some of you already participating in it, and then we are working with digital artists. But maybe I'm running out of time, and I just finish my talk that this is a possibility to have lots of different kind of thinking, lots of different kind of things to work with technology, and then do some connections. So, for example, this is storytelling and computational thinking. That's how we can use different kind of stories to be able to represent our work in the classroom, and then used in this kind of technologies as well. So maybe I stop here, and then I'm sure there are lots of questions, and I will share my slides with you. There are lots of different slides on how we are doing the research, and then there is a possibility that we might be able to collaborate in some of these activities as well. So thank you very much, and then maybe you have some questions.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias, doctor Lavicz, por mostrarnos su trabajo y las investigaciones que usted realiza por todo el mundo. Ha sido muy interesante, muy novedoso, desarrollar, como usted dice, ¿no?, la creatividad de los estudiantes, conectar diferentes disciplinas, ¿no?, involucrar tecnologías, entornos digitales. De todas maneras, incide fuertemente en el aprendizaje de las matemáticas, de la física, ¿no?, de la arquitectura y otras disciplinas más, ¿no? Lo felicito, realmente creo que todos los que lo hemos escuchado hemos aprendido mucho, y ya estamos pensando cómo podemos también nosotros desde donde estamos aportar, digamos, a la enseñanza y al aprendizaje. Bueno, acá tengo una pregunta que me han escrito, que es de la doctora Daisy García, que le manda muchos saludos. Me pregunta, me hace una pregunta para usted, ¿no? Dos preguntas, ¿no? ¿Qué potencialidades educativas trae la impresión 3D? Y ¿por qué desde la educación STEAM es importante desarrollar el pensamiento creativo?
So for 3D printing, then we can do so many things, and then at least 15 of my PhD students are working on 3D printing. So then this is a new technology which is entering our life. I just have this kind of 3D printed thing we just get back from Prusa, a very famous 3D printing companies. So essentially 3D printing will become a very important part of our daily life. So we don't even know that what we will be able to print. Maybe we can print food, we can print rockets, we can print organs for medical purposes. And then what is very important, that we need to be familiar with the technology, but also need to be familiar with the 3D modeling. So then that's why 3D printing is very important from different perspectives, and then it's becoming cheaper and cheaper to have this. And then we can use so many materials now for 3D printing, and there are so many purposes which we cannot even imagine now. So it's becoming our responsibility to introduce students 3D modeling and 3D printing, because it will be part of our future education. For creativity, I think probably that is the most important thing, that what we need to do. Because if you look at that whole, for example, AI is developing, it's a kind of utilizing data to replicate what we are doing. But all of the jobs and then all of the things which is human, then creativity is one of the main aspects of our life, then that should be used and should be monitored through our research. So creativity is very human. And at the same time, what we are doing in schools that many times just restrict this kind of creativity. And then for all new innovation, without the creativity, it's not possible to monitor, to make progress in society. So I think creativity is very important. And if you look at countries like Finland and Estonia and Korea, they are putting so much emphasis on creativity. And then they are becoming very successful too.
Okay, muchas gracias. Acá, bueno, tengo otra pregunta. Se la voy a leer en inglés. Dice, how to promote computational thinking, STEAM methodology, without technology, 3D, printing, reality augmented, robotics, etc., in rural zones in Latam.
What was the question? I just didn't understand. So how to include computational thinking?
La digo es que, ¿cómo promover el pensamiento computacional, sobre todo en la metodología STEAM, sin las tecnologías 3D, printing, realidad aumentada, robótica, en zonas rurales en Latinoamérica?
Yes, so we have lots of projects on computational thinking. So we can do computational thinking without technology. So there are different kind of games what we can develop. I can send you, and so maybe I stop sharing the screen. I can send you lots of papers about computational thinking, what we are developing games, which is not only physical games, but not only digital games, but also games in which could be done in physical words. So I think I just share the papers, and it is a possibility, and then also it's possible to create these environments for computational thinking. And then also we are developing an app with a project called Colette, where you can develop computational thinking activities with these apps. And maybe I will send this link to you. And there are lots of examples on computational thinking, but we are working. And then also maybe you can try our app for computational thinking. I don't know if it answers the question. And then I also share my presentation. And maybe I show you our group where we have lots of interesting examples. And,
muchas gracias, doctor. Justo, bueno, la pregunta la hizo la señorita Cintia Sánchez, y justo de lo último que acaba de mencionar, tengo otra pregunta de Gonzalo Galván. A ver, un ratito. Bueno, le dice, ¿no? Disfrutó mucho su charla y ver ver la evolución de estas innovaciones en la educación. Él cree pues que ese es el futuro, creo que todos, ¿no? Y le gustaría saber si hay más oportunidades de conectar con su grupo de investigación y con otros investigadores sobre estos temas en América Latina.
Yes, and we will also have a conference in Argentina, and then I think Daisy knows, so she was there last year in Argentina, and we will have it again this year. I just shared a Facebook group with you, and I think this is the next conference what we are working. And then also if you send me an email to work with. So we'll have a research STEAM summer school in Buenos Aires in February next year. So we almost have the full program, and the website is under development. But if you sign up for this group, GeoGebra Arts and STEAM, then we will announce all the details about this research summer school, and then also we'll have publications, we'll have research projects. But I think it was a very successful event last year. So this was our conference last year. It was, or this year. And we had really good speakers from all over the world on STEAM education. So we really would like to develop a network in Latin America to work, because you have lots of very interesting activities. But what we try to do is adding some more research aspects, and then also learn from each other that's how to do in this kind of activities as well.
Muchas gracias por la respuesta. Acá tengo un par de preguntas más de Juan Tarazona. Nos dice que, bueno, le pareció muy interesante su presentación. Una de las preguntas es, a la hora de desarrollar proyectos transdisciplinarios, dice, ¿existe algún método o práctica docente que sea más eficiente implementar? Esa es una de las preguntas. Y la otra, dice, ¿podría decirnos si hay algún proyecto en curso relacionado con la inteligencia artificial y la educación?
So it depends what we say efficient or effective, because depends what we want to get. So until now, we wanted the students to have good grades. But I think because of the world is changing, then grades are getting less important. What we need is really developing the skills for the students. But measuring these kind of skills like collaboration, creativity, and so on is becoming difficult. So if we say that efficient is the student get better grades and then maybe understand the content, it's important, but we need to look beyond, because in the future, we need to have good skills of students. And especially with AI. So AI is taking over lots of parts of our life. And then that's why the skills that the students acquire are becoming more important than the content. And of course, there are lots of new projects on AI. And then we are also learning, working with learning analytics and ChatGPT and so on. It's really in the beginning, but I think there is so AI is changing our lives anyway, and then we need to bring it into education. But we need to bring it in a smart way, and then we need to look at AI as a tool, and then also developing the skills for students to be able to use AI in a good way in the classroom.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias, doctor Lavicz, por responder a todas las preguntas que han hecho nuestros amigos, profesores, ¿no? De acá en Perú y seguramente de otros países. Solo me queda agradecerle nuevamente por todo, por su presentación, por haber aceptado venir, dar una presentación así virtual con nosotros. Creo que todo el evento se realza, digamos, cuando vemos investigadores de su calidad, ¿no? De su profesionalismo también. Espero poder verlo pronto por acá por Perú, para poder compartir, ¿no? Compartir más sus experiencias y nuestras experiencias. Como habla mucho de la cultura, y en Perú pues hay mucha cultura también. Y bueno, eso es todo de mi parte. Le agradezco nuevamente por todo. Muchas gracias, doctor Lavicz.
Yes, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Then maybe I will be able to visit you sometime. And then also you are very welcome to join our group in Latin America. We have a huge group already. I think Daisy knows our group, and then we are very happy to involve you and maybe develop some joint projects together.
Okay. Muchas gracias.
Yes. And I share my presentation as well. Just 1 second. I just need to have a link.
Acá en el chat todos están agradeciéndoles mucho por su presentación.
Yes, I'm sharing it right now. So here is the presentation. So you can find it.
Muchas gracias.
Okay. Thank you very much. And all the best for everyone. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Muchas gracias, doctor. Nos vemos. Hasta luego.
Thank you.
Bueno, gracias a todos por haber asistido a la presentación, a la charla magistral del doctor Lavicz. Espero que haya sido de su agrado. Muchas gracias con todos. Hasta luego.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.